the smokes, bumblebees were stinging us. How I soon to be crazy. Each dream can be merry, for tomorrow in die. Each dream can be merry, for tomorrow in die. 'Cause the trip bring me shadows falling down on the beach sand. Remembering once out on beaches we wore pineapple grass bracelets. So why would you care to get out of this place? You and me and all our friends, such a happy human race, yeah. Sitting legs crossed round a fire, my yellow flame should dance here. Tequila drinking, oh, our minds will wander to wondrous places. So why would you care to get out of this place? You and me and all our friends, such a happy human race. Each dream can be merry, for tomorrow in die. Each dream can be merry, for tomorrow in die. Yeah,
morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clap your hands, clap, clap, clap. Stomp your feet, stomp, stomp, stomp. Spin around, spin, spin, spin. Alright. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Wash your hands, wash, wash, wash. Shake your hands, shake, shake, shake. Brush your teeth, brush, brush, brush. All right. Good morning.
I've been diagnosed with 7 mental illnesses.
Well, whoopity-doo. Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube this morning. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the late start this morning. I'll explain in a minute. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are tuned in. This morning we have a lot to talk about. Of course, the SEC released their schedule yesterday. We knew the teams everyone was playing, but we didn't know the dates and things like that. So they went ahead and released the entire schedule yesterday, starting around 3 p.m. with Week 1, and then 7 o'clock last night with a special on the SEC Network releasing the remainder of the schedule. So an 11-week season, 10 games, each team with, of course, the one bye week. Some surprises on there in terms of when games are played, and I actually think they did a pretty good job of trying to keep certain games in certain places where the date that the game is played for some reason has become a big deal. A couple of those Thanksgiving weekend games that we're used to seeing, namely the Iron Bowl, they kept that the same weekend. Georgia, Florida, they actually moved back one weekend. Right? Yeah. Georgia, Florida was scheduled to be played on Halloween this year, which is around, it's normally played either the last Saturday of October or the first Saturday of November, depending on where the calendar falls that particular year. That would have been Halloween this year. They moved it back to October 31st. November 7th. And, of course, the reason they did that, Georgia and Florida always have open dates before that game. And I guess that was the only way to get it to work, with Georgia and Florida both having an open date. You look at this schedule, and I can't lie. Every single week is exciting, and this sort of gives some ammo to some of the other fans of other conferences who have been sort of picking on the SEC scheduling for a while. Every single week this year, there are amazing games. It will be fun to watch. No question about it. Even Week 1. I think there's some very interesting games. I talked about it on the video I uploaded yesterday when they released those Week 1 games over on the main channel. But Tennessee and South Carolina, I think, is a very interesting game because whoever loses that game is going to have a losing record. If whichever one of those teams isn't good enough to beat the other is not winning 5 games. And I expect Tennessee to be favored, and I expect Tennessee to win. But I still think that's an interesting game for that reason. We joke around a little here with the "your season is over" videos. Whoever loses that Week 1 game, the season is legitimately over. But either of those teams, I think, would be lucky to win maybe 4 games all season, whoever loses that game. So I think that's an interesting game. Kentucky traveling to Auburn, to me, is an interesting game. A lot of people think of Kentucky, and they automatically think of the Kentucky that we have seen most years of our lifetime. That's not the Kentucky team right now. Kentucky is better right now than what they normally are. Are they better than Auburn? I don't know. They're not. But they're not the guaranteed win. They're not Vandy. They're not Arkansas. They're not Mizzou even. They've got some talent there, and I think that's an interesting game. I would not expect Auburn to lose that week 1 at home, just like I sort of wouldn't expect Tennessee to lose week 1, but I think both of those teams or both of those games are interesting. And the Florida Ole Miss game, I famously really picked Florida to lose this season to Ole Miss. But if you go back and watch the video when I'm trying to explain why, most of my reasoning is because of where it was played or when it was played during the season. Florida, of course, had a huge home game against LSU. Then the very next week they had to travel to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. That's not the case here. They play Ole Miss week 1. So, in theory, they could prepare for that game for 6 weeks. Now, new coach, new offense, how much can you really prepare? I get that, but you know who the players are that you're preparing against. It's just an advantage, I think. If I was gonna do another Florida prediction, I would probably pick Florida to win that game. I still think it's an interesting game, and we don't really know what we're gonna get out of Lane Kiffin year 1 at Ole Miss. I don't know why people keep laughing at me when I tell them Ole Miss has some talent. I don't know if these are people who just don't pay attention to football. I don't know if these are people who just look at Ole Miss's record last year and say whether they automatically don't have any good players on the team. I mean, that's not the case. Arkansas doesn't have any. I mean, Arkansas is pitiful. They're the ones with no talent. Ole Miss has some talent. They've got a couple of NFL wide receivers. They've got one of the best pass rushes in the SEC. I mean, laugh if you want to. I didn't say the best. I said one of their top 5. They've got talented quarterbacks, and, however talented those quarterbacks are, Lane Kiffin is going to make them at least a little bit more talented. So, can Ole Miss still beat Florida? I think they can. Will they? I think it's less likely now. I still think Ole Miss probably beats one of the teams they're not supposed to beat this year. Florida, LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, Alabama. I think Ole Miss is capable of beating one of those teams. I would say the same thing about Kentucky. I think Kentucky is capable of beating somebody you don't expect them to beat. Again, neither one of those teams are going to win their division. Neither one of those teams are even going 8-2. But I think both of those teams, if they put everything together and have a good week against an opponent that's maybe looking over them or catches them at a bad time on the schedule, I definitely think Kentucky and Ole Miss are capable of beating somebody they're not supposed to. Those are the big games really from week 1. And we'll get into the rest of the schedule here in a little bit. There's some other news I wanted to mention right off the top today, too. Auburn, 34 coronavirus cases in the football program. Not good. Cade Mays ruled ineligible for 2020. In all seriousness, is that fair? No, it's never fair. We don't know why. We don't know why certain people get approved and certain people don't. The Cade Mays thing is funny to me for a variety of reasons. Number one, he really shouldn't have left UGA. He had a guaranteed starting spot this year. I get it. He's from there, but he was from there when he chose UGA to start with. So it was weird that he left. Number two, the situation with his dad and his pinky and the folding chair and suing UGA. Well, good luck with that, but if you need Cade Mays to testify for you, Mr. Mays, it appears as though he'll have plenty of time to do that this fall, as he won't have anything else to do. Penn State athletic director says the Big Ten is not reversing course. I talked about this too. I don't remember where it was at or what show it was on or anything, but I get the petition and all that. And like I said, I'm not at all surprised that the players want to play. I don't think anybody should be surprised that the majority of players want to play. The majority of football players would want to play no matter what. So it doesn't surprise me. But the Big Ten has painted itself into a corner. You can't come out and say we're canceling the season because we hired an independent medical review board and they told us it's not safe to play. You can't come out and tell people that and then a week later go, well, we changed our mind. We're going to play anyway. Can't do that. You've painted yourself into a corner. I don't see the Big Ten playing in 2020. I think the best hope for the Big Ten is a spring season. And it's 50-50 if we get that or not. Same for the Pac-12. I feel bad for the players, the fans, the coaches. the businesses around these campuses that are going to take a hit by not having that influx of people 6 Saturdays this fall or whatever it is. I feel awful. Just like I felt awful for everybody at the bowling alley and the movie theater and the gyms and the hair salons and people who had March Madness tickets and people who had Masters tickets and people who had NASCAR tickets for the first few races and people who had NBA tickets, people who had Major League Baseball tickets. I feel sorry for all those people, but it's not like college football is the first entity or the first sport or the first business to take a hit. Almost every single industry in the United States has been hit by this thing, so it's not a surprise to me that it's going to take its toll on college football. It sucks, but it is what it is. And North Carolina had a spike in cases. North Carolina shifts to full-time remote learning after outbreak. So they bring their kids back, and within a week, they've sent them all home for learn from home. North Carolina will shift to full-time remote learning on Wednesday after announcing 177 students are in isolation and another 349 are in quarantine because of the coronavirus. At least for now, the change does not impact how North Carolina football prepares for the season. The Tar Heels open September 12th against Syracuse. The return of the student body to campus remains one of the biggest questions about whether it is safe to play this fall season in conferences that are attempting to do so. North Carolina welcomed back the student body 1 week ago. According to the school, the COVID-19 positivity rate jumped from 2.8% to 13.6% between August 10th and August 16th. So the first week that the kids were back on school, the positivity rate increased sixfold. And we've talked about this on this show for the last couple of months. I felt like that was the last big hurdle that we had to get over. These schools that are bringing 30, 40,000 students back on campus, how are they going to handle that and control that and try to keep the virus from spreading with all these students running around? And we're finding out it's not going to be easy. A bunch of pictures surfaced yesterday of some kind of get-together at the University of Alabama. I don't know what it was. It looked like thousands of students packed all on top of each other. I don't know what they were doing. Not a single one had a mask on. Nick Saban came out. Half the football team of Alabama was tweeting about it, basically calling the students out. Y'all been complaining for 2 months. Y'all want football season, and then y'all show up and look at you. No mask, no social distancing. 1,000 of you crammed into wherever it was they were crammed into. Again, that's not me. That's not my opinion about the mask. That's the Alabama football team basically begging its own students to have some common sense. And honestly, a lot of football fans in general fall into that same category. Spent the last 2 or 3 months crossing their fingers, hoping and praying that we would have a college football season, at the same time doing absolutely nothing to slow down this thing. In fact, a lot of them did the opposite. Like it's become some sort of badge of honor to proclaim to the world how stupid you are by refusing to wear a mask. Wearing a mask is not taking away any of your rights. I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can pretend to want something so bad. The people who are in charge of giving you that something have been begging you for months. Social distance, avoid large gatherings, wear a mask when you're indoors in tight quarters. And people just laugh because their mind has been destroyed by politics, and now we're on the verge of having no football in the fall. A few more of these outbreaks like you're seeing at Auburn, Alabama, North Carolina, Notre Dame's got a problem. I mean, it's not going to take very many of these for this to all come crumbling down. I mean, everything has to line up perfectly for this season to start. And so far, a weekend of having kids back on campus, in my opinion anyway, not going very well. Not going very well. Anyway, BVD texted me about 7:30 this morning. He's not feeling well today, so he's going to take the day off. Hopefully, he'll be feeling better by Thursday, and he can join us on Thursday. Of course, we don't have a morning show tomorrow, so he'll have a couple of days to rest up. Hopefully, he'll be good to go for Thursday. So that's the situation on BVD. So for all of you that are only in here waiting with bated breath to hear from BVD, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Speaking of disappointment, don't worry. Celine Driver will be joining us soon. Mike Williams, thank you for hitting that super chat this morning, sir. He says, good morning, Lou. Good morning to you, Mr. Williams. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. 110 of you watching this morning. Only 29 of you like what you see. I apologize for that. I will try to make Thursday's show better so that more of you will feel inclined to hit the thumbs up, but I'm doing the best I can. I've been a busy bee the last few days. I'm what's that expression? Working your knuckles to the bone or whatever. I feel like I'm running in a perpetual state of empty. I had contractors over here last night, literally until midnight. I'm not exaggerating. I was on somebody's live stream. Whose live stream was that? Chess Hall's? So he can tell you if he's in here. Celine Driver was in there, I think. Yeah. And they were here till 12 o'clock. And I can't go to, I can't go to sleep with strangers rummaging through my backyard. So didn't get much sleep last night. Had to get up this morning, take the kids to school. I have to actually have to end the show a little early today, probably about 9:15. I have to meet the contractors up at Lowe's to pick out some paint and some other things, baseboard, all that kind of stuff. So I'll have to cut it a little short today, but I'm sacrificing now so that I can be in that new building sooner rather than later. Trust me, if there was a way I could do it any quicker, I would. Oh, yeah, this is our kid's third week of school already, Nick. It's optional. You could send them or you could let them do work from home. And even if you choose to send them like we did, they only go 2 days a week. So, yeah, they go Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. What Alabama traditions have been ruined? This is what I don't understand. We were within an eyelash of having no football season at all this year, and now there's people complaining. Why? Because Auburn and Alabama isn't the last game of the season. If they would have scheduled Auburn and Alabama the last game of the season, you same people would be complaining that it's not being played on Thanksgiving weekend like it normally is. Y'all, we'll take anything we can get. What are you outraged about? What tradition has been ruined? What Alabama tradition has been ruined? You have to play Tennessee the 4th Saturday in October instead of the 3rd Saturday in October? Oh, the humanity. I mean, do y'all not realize how close we were and still are to not having a season at all? And now you're complaining about... Alabama fans will literally complain about anything. Last year they complained about having to play games at noon. Like Tuscaloosa is the only city in America, the only city in the SEC where it's hot in September at noon. No, it's hot in every SEC city in September at noon. What are you talking about? So many traditions have been destroyed. Oh, my God. Hey, in 50 years, you'll be sitting, your great-great-grandkid will be sitting on your knee, and you'll be telling them about the year Alabama football was destroyed because they had to play Tennessee on the 4th Saturday instead of the 3rd. It's tradition. Tradition is that we play football in the fall. So that was almost taken away. This is the dumbest thing. I can't believe this. Oh, my God, I can't believe we have to play Auburn. You kept the Auburn tradition. Alabama versus Auburn is played on Thanksgiving weekend. It's still being played on Thanksgiving weekend. What is the problem? Alabama versus Auburn, November 28th, Thanksgiving weekend. The same weekend it would have been played if we'd have had a normal season. Literally the only significant change is that you're playing Tennessee on the 4th Saturday in October instead of the 3rd. Heavens to Betsy. Oh, no. Cancel everything. Cancel everything. My God. Hey, Brian Patrick, maybe a couple of your friends will be part of that 0.6 death rate like a couple of my friends were, shithead. What percentage of the population dies from breast cancer? Does that mean it's no big deal? Asking for a friend. Jeez. Mike Reiser, thank you for hitting the PayPal link this morning. Sir, I'll put the link in the chat for anybody else that wants it. He says, what's the difference between a Lamborghini and a pile of dead bodies? I don't have a Lamborghini in my garage. You have a pile of dead bodies in your garage, sir? I don't have room in here for any dead bodies. That's one of the reasons I'm moving out of here. I need somewhere to store my trophies, so to speak. So where's the Florida fans at in here? I want to know what the excuses are for your top 3 wide receivers not showing up for practice and a defensive end. 4 projected starters for Florida opted out of practice. They didn't show up. Dan Mullen was asked about it. He confirmed it. He didn't confirm who the 4 players were, but there's articles all over the place that tells you who they were. There are 3 starting wide receivers, Copeland, Tyree, and I forget the third guy's name. And the rumor is that they're all considering opting out of the season. Hard to overcome losing your top 3 wide receivers a month before the season starts, isn't it? Bumblebee Tuna says, hold on, where did it go? I'm mad. Well, you came to the right place then. You definitely came to the right place. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. It was a safety, actually, I think, Joseph, that opted out at LSU. I saw that yesterday. Maybe it was a corner, but I thought it was a safety. In any case, it was a starting DB, starting defensive back. Here's the schedule. Where is it? There's the schedule. We've already talked a lot about week 1. Week 2, Alabama at home against A&M. Arkansas on the road at Mississippi State. Oh, my God. Whoa, what is this? Auburn versus Georgia in week 2? The season is ruined! Auburn at UGA week 2. That'll be a good one. Florida home against South Carolina. Kentucky home against Ole Miss. LSU on the road at Vandy. Ole Miss on the road at Kentucky. Now, that could be a good game. I just got done talking about them. Maybe, whoever wins that game probably gets to 6 wins. And becomes bowl eligible. Now, I don't think we're having any bowl games, but you have to have a 500 record to be bowl eligible this year. So you got to win 5 games to be bowl eligible this year. I don't think we'll have very many bowl games, if any at all, but that's the criteria this year. Missouri on the road at Tennessee. Tennessee's first 2 games are must win. They've got to beat South Carolina and they've got to beat Missouri. You look at the way they started last year, dropping those first 2 games to Georgia State and BYU. You can't have a repeat of that this year. Both of these teams are better than the 2 teams you lost to last year, but Tennessee's not the same team right now that lost to those 2 teams last year. So Tennessee should win that game, but man, you look at Tennessee's schedule, they've got to win the first 2. For morale reasons, because of what happened last year, and just look at their schedule. If they lose either one of those first 2 games, how do they get to 5 wins? Because after South Carolina and Missouri, it gets a lot more difficult for Tennessee. They play on the road at Georgia. They play home against Kentucky. Again, a must-win game. Home against Alabama. Bye week. On the road at Arkansas. Home against A&M, which will be tough. On the road at Auburn, which will be tough. On the road at Vandy, they should win that one. And then they close the season out at home against Florida. So normally Florida and Tennessee play the first SEC. That's usually their first SEC game. Not the case this year. They play the last weekend of the season on December 5th. I guess yet another reason why the season must be ruined. I don't know. The other week 2 games, Vandy and LSU, Texas A&M, Bama. Week 3, Alabama on the road at Ole Miss. Could that be the game that Ole Miss finds a way to win? I don't know. Florida at Texas A&M. L for the Gators. So Florida may end up beating Ole Miss now, which would make my previous prediction wrong. But they'll more than make up for it by losing on the road to A&M. Georgia versus Tennessee should be a good game. Georgia gets them at home. Should be a win for Georgia, but we'll see. Side note, Georgia, the only team in the SEC with only 4 home games. Everyone else has 5. Of course, the reason for that is all of the idiots within the Georgia and Florida fan base, honestly, who think playing in Jacksonville every year is a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea. That's why now Georgia only has 4 home games. Our 5th home game would have been that game. But we got to travel out of state to play it. Kentucky and Mississippi State, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina and Vandy. Week 4, October 17th, Georgia-Alabama game. Probably the biggest game of the season. The game most people are looking forward to the most. 2 of the best teams in the SEC that only play in the regular season every 5 or 6 years. Both their last 2 games have been really good games. The national title game in 17 and the SEC title game in 18. Alabama came out on top on both. We have to play them there. Kirby Smart hasn't done very well on the road against the SEC West. I believe he's 1-3. Only win coming last year at Auburn. He has losses on the road to LSU, Ole Miss, and Auburn. Georgia did beat Alabama the last time we played in Tuscaloosa, Nick Saban's first year. Nick Saban's first SEC loss was to Georgia back in 2007 at home in an overtime game. Mikey Henderson caught the game-winning touchdown. Dogs beat Alabama. That was the last time Georgia beat Alabama 13 years ago. Now, we don't play them every year, but still 13 years is a long time. Auburn and South Carolina could be interesting. Auburn's got to go on the road and play there, a place they're not used to playing. Florida at home against LSU. Man, if Florida can find a way to win that game, it sure would make them feel good, wouldn't it? It's at home. Maybe they can pull it off. I don't know. Kentucky and Tennessee, I think, will be a good one in week 4. Week 5, Alabama at Tennessee. Arkansas has its bye week. Auburn at Ole Miss. Florida at home against Mizzou. Georgia on the road at Kentucky, another good game, I think. LSU, South Carolina. Missouri at Florida. Florida should win that one. Tennessee, Bama, Vandy, and A&M have bye weeks. So that's the first 5 weeks of the schedule, first 5 games. Georgia's in cruise control mode after their bye week, aren't they? Georgia plays 5 games. Georgia plays 5 games, then has a bye week, then plays 5 more. All 5 of Georgia's games after the bye week are easier than all 5 of Georgia's games before the bye week, with the exception of Arkansas. That's a gimme, but most of Georgia's tough games are front-loaded. Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama 3 weeks in a row is tough. Georgia can't afford to lose to Auburn or Tennessee because they could then be sitting on 2 losses if they lose to Alabama. So Georgia's got to find a way to win those first 3 games, Auburn and Tennessee. And then they close out the first half against Kentucky, bye week, and then they play 5 nobodies to close out the season. Vandy, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Mizzou, and Florida. So, sad Celine Driver on, see what he thinks, and then we'll go over the second half of the schedule.
Good morning, Annette, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So Florida is part of cruise control.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Is there any team that Florida has beaten 3 times in a row that concerns you?
Well, yes. Georgia always concerns me.
You haven't beaten them 3 times in a row.
Well, not recently, but we have beaten 3 times.
That's what
in
I'm
a row.
talking about. Is there any team right now that you have beat 3 times in a row, but you're worried about them in 2020?
No.
I feel you.
No.
Why would you be?
Well, the same reason why Georgia shouldn't be overly concerned about any team that they've beaten 3 times in a row, except maybe Florida. Well, Florida's better than most teams you've beaten 3 times in a row.
Spoken like a true Florida man.
Look at this photograph.
But I did get rid of the jorts.
Okay, good. You still wear Crocs with calf high white socks though, right?
No, I don't own any white socks, and I don't own any Crocs.
But you're a Florida fan though?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I'm an adult.
Fan police probably arrest you for not keeping it real.
Well, sorry about that.
It is what it is. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Why did your screen shift all? Your screen's going all over the place. Anyway, how you doing, Lou?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm all right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was going to throw out there that I had put together, I got it up to 17 questions for Stump the Chump, but I guess that'll wait. If you're going to do that maybe next week, maybe I could do the questions, because I got a bunch of them.
Oh, we're not doing it next week.
Oh, whenever.
Yeah, we're not going to do that every week. It would just be BVD doing humiliating things constantly. Then we got to give him a break.
I don't know. Well, if you ever want to do it again, I got plenty of questions for you.
SEC Dog, thank you for hitting the PayPal link, sir. He says, congrats on the new studio. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. I'll be even happier once I'm able to work in there. So,
Yeah, how did you manage to get those guys to stay until midnight doing drywall?
Well, let me tell you the story here, okay?
Okay.
The first thing I did when I decided I was going to build something back there, and a lot of you probably remember this, I had to have a bunch of trees cut down. So I found a guy to do it. Okay, well, he did a great job cutting trees down. So anyway, turns out that's his specialty or whatever, but he's also like a general contractor.
Right.
So we got to talking to him while he was cutting the trees down, and after he cut the trees down, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we had him do several other things around here too. He cleaned our gutters out. Just a handful of things. And I was talking to him. I was talking to him one day, and I asked him if he knew anybody that did drywall. And he was like, "Well, I can do drywall, and I got a buddy of mine that's got all the. He does drywall for a living. I'll get him to come with me. He's got all the professional drywall equipment. Blah blah blah." I said, "Okay, well, that's fine."
Nice.
So he came out here Sunday because I was ready for. I finished the insulation Sunday morning early. I got up at anyway. I finished putting up the insulation Sunday morning.
You did the insulation?
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I had already told that guy, I was like, probably be Monday, I'll be ready for you to come out here and do the drywall. But I finished the insulation so early on Sunday, I went ahead and called him because I finished at like 10 in the morning. So I called him and I was like, hey, the insulation is done. If you want to get a head start, you can come out here today. So he did. He came out here on Sunday and worked for 3 or 4 hours, mainly on the ceiling. And then he left, and he was like, I'll be back early tomorrow. I said, well, how early is early? He was like, early. And I said, well, I get up at 5. To me, that's early.
Mm-hmm.
What time is early? He's like, well, I'll be there early, 8 or 9 o'clock. Well, he never came at 8 or 9 o'clock. Lunchtime came around. He wasn't here. I started texting him and calling him. He wouldn't answer the phone or text me back. Anyway, long story short, he ended up not getting here yesterday till 5 o'clock. And I was heated. Right. I was big mad. And I let him know, too. And so I think he felt bad, and that's why he stayed till midnight. I took these studio lights I have in here out there and hooked and plugged them in and said, here you go.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, you say you're going to be there early and you don't show up till 5 o'clock. I'd be pissed off too.
Well, yeah, and like he finally texted me back at like 12:30 with this whole long story, but I'm headed that way now. That was at 12:30. At 3:30, he still wasn't here. 3 hours later, and I'm like, what? What's the deal here? And then he texted me back with a different story, and it's just I was pissed.
As you should be.
So, but anyway, he did finally show up with 2 or 3 guys too, and they got the ceiling completely finished. So the only thing left to do is throw the walls up, mud it, and sand it. So and we'll see what happens today. I'm meeting him at Lowe's between 9:30 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
He better be there because I can hang drywall on the wall. So if I go to Lowe's at 9:30 and he's not there by 10 o'clock, I'm coming home and I'm hanging that drywall.
I guess the drywall's already there.
Yeah, I had it delivered like a week ago. I had it all delivered at the same time: the drywall, the flooring, the insulation, all that big stuff.
What's going to be on the floor?
I'm doing laminate flooring.
Yeah, you mentioned. I forgot though. Yeah. I just wanted to measure. So
like that tongue and groove, like engineered wood. Fake hardwood.
That's going to be such a cool. I mean, there's so many ways that people have said it, and I've said it too. That we're all happy for you, Lou. But damn, I mean, this is a big step, and this costs money, and time, and effort, and the fact that you're able to do all that, especially the money part, it means you've achieved something, sir, and I congratulate you.
Well,
really
I
do.
appreciate that, but the reason I'm able to do it is because of you and hundreds of people, thousands of people like you. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's the Patreon page or super chats or PayPal or watching videos, sharing videos, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you'd have told me even 2 years ago that I'd be where I was at now, I wouldn't have. I don't know
When
if I
I
would have
show your
believed it.
videos, people think I'm crazy. They say, "What's a Florida fan doing sharing videos from a Georgia boy?" I said, "Watch the video, man. He's funny."
Yeah, I appreciate that, and it's hard for me sometimes to and you know this, when you have kids, it's hard to spend money on yourself sometimes. I'm not talking about going and buying a pair of jeans or something, but I mean, like, do I have to have that building in the backyard? No, I don't have to. I've been out here and things have worked out fine. But it just gets to I just can't do it out here anymore, and so
No, I understand. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't sit in that kind of. I mean, I spend time in my garage, which is in semi-insulated, air conditioned. Playing with my car, and I don't spend 5-6 hours editing a video. Maybe a couple hours, waxing or something, or changing out a part or something.
Yeah.
So I know, and Florida is hotter than Georgia by a little bit, so I know.
Yeah.
You can't. The older you get, the less tolerant you are of that kind of thing, and
the heat is a big part of it, but the heat's not the only. The heat's the main part, but I mean, it's just a mess in here. I mean, you've been here. I mean, it's just
Yes.
This is a garage. We've never parked a car in here. This has always been a place where we stored stuff until we either figured out what we were going to do with it, or we had a yard sale, or whatever the case, and it's just accumulated and accumulated, and it's dirty out here. Everything is covered in dust all the time out here. It's a huge hassle. Now, I made it work for as long as I could, but I told myself around the beginning of the year that if things went well, if I hit certain goals I set for myself or whatever, that I would bite the bullet and look into doing something different.
No,
I mean, we don't have a huge house. I mean, we have a 3-bedroom house, and we have 2 kids. There's not an extra room. There's not a bonus room above the garage. We don't have a playroom that I could turn into something. I mean, there's it's either the garage or add on to the house, or build a freestanding structure in the backyard. And
I think you actually made a smart move, not knocking out a wall and adding on to the house.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, just knocking out an opening in a wall can sometimes open up, pardon the pun, a whole can of worms. It's like, oh, we didn't know that was going on inside the wall, and then all of a sudden, it's a rebuild project instead of a add-on project.
Yeah. Vodka
I think
Drinker
you did
says
the
just
right
hang a ceiling fan in the garage. Sir, I've been out here for 4 years. Do you think it never crossed my mind to hang a ceiling fan? There's 2 ceiling fans out here.
Yeah,
Let me
I
ask
have
you
the
this:
ceiling
if you
fan.
turn the oven on at your house and sit in it, but you put a fan in there,
Yeah, that's called a convection oven.
all it's doing is blowing around hot air.
Yeah, I have a ceiling fan in my garage. I put it in about 10 years ago and turned it on, and it's never been turned off. You know what it does for my garage?
What?
Schneebeitzen, bubkiss, nothing.
Yeah.
It does nothing. You do not know what you're speaking of, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 ceiling fans in here. I have an oscillating fan, like a floor fan that's like 4 feet high or something, and oscillates back and forth. And then I have like a personal desk fan that's like 12 inches in diameter, sitting right here on the desk that I can turn on. Now, I can't turn that on during live streams. It makes too much noise. But while I'm sitting there editing videos, I'll turn it on. But again, if it's 130 degrees in this garage, there's not there's not really anything any amount of fans can do to help you.
Now, all you're doing is moving the hot air around
Yeah.
you, and basically you're. Have you ever seen a convection oven, folks? You know, they use fans to circulate the air to cook the food faster. So all Lou is doing with fans is cooking himself
Yeah.
faster. So we'll have a well done Lou inside of 3 hours instead of 5.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah,
What
this
really
makes-
solidified it was when I first brought this up to Mrs. Lou. She is way better with money than I am. You know, she saves money and she doesn't like to spend money. And I'm a lot better now than I used to be. But I used to be the type of person, if I had $10, I'd find a way to spend 11. You know, that kind of thing. And I've gotten a lot better than with that since I've had kids. But what really solidified it is when I brought it up with Mrs. Lou the first time, and she gave me no pushback or anything at all. She said, if we can afford it, you deserve it.
Amazing.
And I said, say no more, fam.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
And then
you're
football
not gonna-
season got canceled, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Well, it's,
But-
you know, if you will forgive the expression, this was an act of God.
Yeah. The horse was
As it
out of the
were.
barn. Had I known, you know, at the beginning of this year, what was going to happen this year, I would have pushed the idea of a new studio out of my head until next year. But the horse was already out of the barn. And I'm just the type of person, I can become obsessive. And once I get an idea in my head, it's hard for me to get it out. And so
Yeah,
once I got to
I'm
the point
guilty of
where I
that.
was talking to contractors and shopping around, it was pretty much a done deal at that point. Like I reached the point of no return really, really quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty much guilty of that kind of thing. Yeah, I can relate 100% to, you know, the idea is in my head and it's not going away until I until I do it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how I kind of ended up with the watch collection I have, really. You know?
Yeah.
So, shiny objects, you know.
Rob W., thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, hey, Lou, hit me up. I'm off. I'll help you if you need it. You know, I've been amazed at the number of people who have offered help. Everything from, you know, coming over here to help me. I had people volunteer to come over and help me haul those rocks to the backyard. I had people volunteer to help me with the drywall. I've had HVAC guys offer help, painting guys. It's blown me away, the number of people that have offered to help me. But really, I've gotten pretty lucky so far. The electrician, the electrician is the thing that gave me the hardest time so far. Now, once I found somebody, I've couldn't be happier. Like the guy did an amazing job. He came here, he worked till the job was done. He was
Are you running
problems.
Are you running? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So he's been great. It took me a while to find one. And then other than yesterday with this guy not showing up or whatever, he's been good too. And if you guys have ever hired out any work, if I go hire a drywall company, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars. If I hire a handyman to do it, it's going to cost me half that. So there's a give and take. If you hire just a handyman, you have to. There's some things you give up there. You know, they're not going to show up with a crew of 4 or 5 people and all the professional equipment, and it's going to take a handyman longer to do it. He might not show up when he tells you he's going to show up, that kind of thing. So you have to deal with those kind of things to try to save some money. But not coming until 5 o'clock in the afternoon was ridiculous, and I let him know that. But anyway, yeah, he stayed till midnight. So, and the ceiling is done. So all he's got to do is throw the walls up now. But here's what concerns me today. There's a lot of outlets.
Exactly, won't be a lot.
And I hope he takes his time and measures that right, because the holes have to be cut exact in that drywall. I don't want to get to the end where I'm putting faceplates over the sockets and then there's a gap. There's gaps between all the faceplates in the wall. That's going to make me mad. So he's got to take his time on that. And I bought extra drywall. You know, he's got a little leeway, but
Are you running water into that building?
no. Mm-mm. That would have made it unaffordable to do all at the same time. Now I can add, that's something I may do later down the road, but it would have been another probably $2,000 or $3,000 at least to run water out there.
So no bathroom out there.
No, but there's no bathroom in the garage. I mean, it's I'm used
It's
to
true.
having to get up and walk inside, so that's not the one thing that I'll have to figure something out on is, it can be pouring rain, whatever. I can walk right out into this garage, no problem. I've got to walk through my backyard to get to it now, so I'll have to figure something. I've never been an umbrella guy, but I might have to start keeping an umbrella by the back door or something like that.
You're gonna have like what do they call those? The stone, the pads that the made out of concrete or stone or whatever that you can walk on.
Yeah, like a walking path. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one now. A lot of you know, I think already, but my in-laws actually live right behind us. So we had a gate put into the privacy fence that separates our two backyards, and so the kids can walk back and forth or whatever to go see their grandparents. So there's already one walkway there, and I'm just going to branch off of that walkway and make a second one down to the
See, that's nice
the
that
thing.
you get along with your in-laws. That's always a big bonus.
Yeah, you hear horror stories about in-laws or people that maybe live with or very close to their in-laws or whatever. There's no issues here. They've always treated me great, and they had plenty of reason years ago not to treat me great, but they've never been anything but good to me and the kids and all that. It hasn't been a problem at all having them. The only thing that ever bothers me about them being there, and I think all kids do this. The difference is, if I get on to one of my kids, the first thing they do is run to Oma's house. Now, see, grandparents never discipline their grandchildren. To a grandparent, a grandchild can do no wrong. And I get that. It was the same way when I was a kid, but I didn't live within walking distance of my grandparents, but like I'll go take my daughter's phone. Next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call from Oma. What in the hell you do? She said you took her phone, and blah, blah, blah. That bothers me sometimes.
Now, my parents were exceptions to that rule, but there's a very specific reason why. Because of what's in their house. I won't bore you with gory details, but my parents are glass collectors, and if you ever want to look up artists like Richie Royal or Dale Chihuly or whatever, or any of those guys, and find out what that kind of glass looks like, their house is packed full of that stuff. It's like a museum. And when my kids were younger, when they got out of control, they got disciplined by grandma and grandpa real quick, because some of that, in addition to being very expensive, if they crash into one of those pieces, they can lacerate themselves into the ER. So there was a lot of discipline going on at my parents' house. So they were well versed at disciplining children. I mean, they had to raise me and my sister. So, but yeah, my kids learned how to play my parents off against me once in a while. So
Yeah.
I got those phone calls every once in a while. Sort of embarrassing in a way.
Yeah, so for the most part, it's worked out good having them there. There was time, there's whether it's small things that you don't really think about, but like there's been times where maybe I had to be somewhere at 3 or 4 in the afternoon or something, and the grandma just walks over here in the afternoon, lets herself in, and she's here when the kids get off the bus or whatever.
See, that's
Stuff like
convenient.
that. Like if I have an appointment at 3:30 or whatever, I don't have to say, well, God, who's gonna be here when the kids get home or whatever. I just they're both retired over there. I just call, and they walk over and they're here when the kids get off the bus. So there's been a lot of advantages to having them there, and we eat over there probably over the course of a year, I bet you we eat there on average 3 times a week.
Well, I bet Oma is a pretty damn good cook.
Yeah, and you know she's German.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm
man,
saying.
yeah. So she can make it all. I do miss. They don't do the southern cooking over there, and I miss that from my mom. Even I'm 42. I was 40 when she passed away. Up until the time she passed away, once every couple of weeks, she would just show up over here with a Tupperware filled with like cube steak and gravy, butter beans, and black-eyed peas or something, you know. And I miss that. I miss that because the Oma's a great cook, but she was raised in Germany, not the southern United States. You know, she doesn't fry chicken. You know, she doesn't cook. So that's what I miss. But
No, I bet.
but she is
I bet
an
her-
amazing
I bet her
cook,
schnitzel
though.
was fantastic.
Yeah, and she cooks it all: rouladen and schnitzel and. You know, I mean, all kinds of stuff, and yeah, we probably eat over there 3 times a week on average.
Yeah, I miss my my mom's mom, my maternal grandma. I miss her cooking. She passed in '93, and I wish I had paid more attention to how she made some of the stuff she made because that's gone forever.
Yeah, see, my brother loves to cook, and he has some of those. He got some of that stuff from my mom, you know. So he'll make some of that stuff sometimes too. I can't stand to cook in the kitchen. Now I love grilling. I'll stand around a grill all day long, I love
I've
it.
seen videos of that. Looks
but
like
I
you
do
know what
not
you're
like
doing.
cooking in the kitchen at all.
You should do another grilling video.
Yeah.
Some of us could use some tips.
And I'm not an amazing, I like to grill. I'm no grill master. I mean, I just have a regular gas grill. These people nowadays with these smokers and these Rectech grills and, you know, I just give me a piece of steak and a grill and I'm good, you know.
I want one of those Rectex, but I'm not willing to spend that kind of money when there are watches.
Yeah. You know, they make them here.
What?
They make those here in Augusta.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where they're headquartered. Now,
Okay.
all of the parts are made in China, but they're assembled. They were founded here, and they have a big, huge warehouse not far from here, maybe 10 or 15 minutes from here, and they're assembled here. And the showroom is here. Like you want to go and look around, pick you one out or whatever. But yeah, they're all made here. And those things, my father-in-law got one about a month ago. Those things are. Well, they're made out of pure steel.
Mm.
Those things are heavy. I mean,
And they-
300-400 pounds.
And they talk to your cell phone too.
Yeah, they got the smart versions. Yep. Yeah,
That
he's
would be
still
helpful.
sort of new to it, you know. So he's used it 3 or 4 times. He's had us over a couple of times. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff you can do with those things now. But I'm more of I like grilling, like I said, but I'm not I'm a simple, hot dogs and hamburgers, steaks, barbecue chicken. That's what I like. You know, that's what I grill. You know,
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
no. Mm-mm. But my brother now, he can cook. He can cook.
I
And,
got a gas grill out on my deck. It's under a cover. It's fairly protected, but damn if I can't I can't stop grills in this city from rusting. I mean, the humidity
Yeah.
and the salt in the air. I mean, I don't live right on the coast. I'm probably about 7-8 miles in from the water, but the salt air and the humidity just kill these grills. They just tap them out, rust them out, and about 5 years is all you get out of them before the bottom just falls out of them.
People are making fun of
Sucks.
me about the gas grill, and I get it, and I'm the first to admit that most meat tastes better cooked on a charcoal grill than it does on a gas grill. But like I said, you know, food just isn't that important to me. Outside of game day snacks during the season, food is not very important. And I know some people that, you know, food is almost like a hobby to them. And I don't even mean that they're fat or they eat a lot. I just like, my brother and sister-in-law, they going out to a nice restaurant is like there's nothing greater in this world to them than going out to eat at a fancy restaurant. I could care less.
Guy.
Yeah, they like to take us to these places, and I look on the menu and I don't know what anything is. Nothing. And I'm like, what where are we? Is there a steak on here somewhere? Oh yeah, and they'll point to 3 or 4 steaks, and I'm reading and it doesn't say the word steak not one time. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. That's just not, that's not me.
No, I understand.
I talk about that T-Bones all the time that I go to. That's a steakhouse. I bet you I can count on one hand the number of times I've ordered a steak from there. And steak is my favorite meal. But I would much rather cook my own steak at home.
But they do the steak pretty good, Lou.
Who, T-Bones?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
No, it was pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah. But I go there for the Tommy fries. And it's like I said, it's not that I've never eaten a steak there, but I just would much rather go to the grocery store, pick out a nice piece of meat, come home, season it the way I want, and cook it. And the other thing is, every single restaurant you go to, medium means something different. I can cook it how I want it here. I mean, my grill's my grill is nothing to brag about, but I know exactly how long to cook my steak, depending on how thick it is, on that grill to get it just the way I want it. I figured it out. Now, I go to someone else's grill, I can't do that. I don't have a meat thermometer. But and it's not that I don't ever cook in the kitchen. I mean, we got kids; they got to eat. So, I mean, I'm not saying I don't ever cook in the kitchen, but I don't enjoy it at all.
No, your grill. I mean, that's the key to grilling is you got to know your grill. So, but actually, when I go out to eat for a steak, I usually only go to. We have 2 good high-end places around here where I live, but I'd rather go to Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
They seem to know how to. I mean, I've been to Outback and Longhorn around here. I've been very disappointed in them, but Roadhouse. Every time I go to Roadhouse, they do it exactly right every time, and it doesn't hurt that their rolls are killer.
People are talking about smokers, and listen, I love eating meat that's been smoked. You know what I don't like doing? I'm not getting up at 3 a.m, turning my smoker on, putting a Boston butt in it, going back to sleep, getting up at 8 a.m, checking it, having to go out there once an hour to monitor the temperature all day long so that thing can cook for 15 hours. It's not that important to me to do that.
I'm not into babysitting my food.
Now, my father-in-law does that, and I think it's great. It's amazing. Let me know when it's ready.
Yeah, I'm not into babysitting my food. I like to cook. I'm a good cook, and I like to cook. But cooking to me shouldn't be an 18-hour event or process. It should be, cook the food, eat the food.
I eat out of necessity. I eat because I'm hungry and I need to survive. Some people eat because they just literally enjoy it. Or some people enjoy going to some restaurant where you have to order, where everything is priced separately. These places, like if you go these restaurants where you go and if you order a steak, that's literally all you get is a steak. If you want mashed potatoes, that'll be another $9. If you want asparagus, that'll be another $12. Places like that. Yeah, and the food is good, but it's not worth it to me versus what you have to pay because it's just not that important. It's just not that important to me. Thank you for the super chat, Creeping Death. He says, do you think Georgia has time now to get a good offense? I think Georgia would have had a good offense regardless. Chemistry is the question mark. And as far as the Alabama game specifically, we were supposed to play them, the 3rd game of the season? Yeah, the 3rd game of the season. Now we're playing them the 4th game of the season. And it looked for a while like we might be playing them the 1st game of this season. So does it benefit Georgia to play Alabama 4th as opposed to 1st?
Oh, hell yeah.
Probably a little bit. I
I think more than a little bit, Lou. I think you're being I think you're being modest there. I think that is a boon to Georgia because they got 3 games to work to figure out who's their quarterback, work all the bugs out. You know, I think you're being modest, sir. The Georgia Alabama just became a pick'em game in my mind, and your football mind is better than mine. I admit that
Yeah.
freely.
Well,
But
part of my
Georgia,
issue is the road
Alabama
record.
became-
Part of my issue is the road record, the
Well, yeah.
psychological advantage that Saban has over pretty much everybody.
Right.
I mean,
right.
what am I supposed to do? You tell me. Comment section, tell me. What am I supposed to do in the halftime video of the Georgia Alabama game if Georgia's up by 10? What am I supposed to do? You think
If
I'm going to be
Georgia's up by
confident?
10?
We've been up on Alabama by 10 plus the last 2 times we played them at halftime, and I've come on here and ha ha ha, and then look what happened. So I am completely mind fucked by Alabama at this point. So
If
it's
Georgia
just
was up, if Georgia was up by 10 at halftime in the upcoming game, I would have. If it were me, I would be quietly confident if there is such a thing. But yeah, you have your history is against you. But
Yeah.
Still, I mean, being up by 10.
I mean,
Saban
yeah,
is being up
even
by
though
10
the
on
history and what's happened, I would still rather be up by 10 at halftime than down by 10. I'm not saying I wouldn't. It's just it's I mean, Alabama's a really good team, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That'll be a tough game.
That might be the toughest game. No, strike that. It is the toughest game being played on the entire SEC schedule.
Yeah.
That's going to be the toughest game of all.
And when we had them scheduled week 3, we had 2 preseason games leading up to that. We had Virginia and East Tennessee State.
Yeah.
So you were like, okay, well, work some kinks out, try some different things, particularly against East Tennessee State. Pretty much try whatever you want, and then get ready for that Bama game. Well, now you have Arkansas. Okay, that is what it is. But then you've got Auburn and Tennessee, both at home, which is good. And Auburn, Tennessee, and then Bama. That's a tough 3 game. That's a tough 3 games there. Auburn, Tennessee, Bama.
Yeah. I want Georgia to do me and Gator Nation one favor. Very simple favor. I want you to take Felipe and bury him.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try.
I mean, I want you to blitz him I want him by halftime to be bouncing around like a ping pong ball, not knowing which way to go, with a 1,000-yard deer in the headlights stare in his face.
We'll see what we
Just
can
make
do.
him suffer.
Yeah.
Make him suffer for me, Lou. That's all I ask.
Waikiki, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, we bought a smoker this summer. It's amazing. We use it all the time. It's super easy to use, and everything tastes so much better. I agree. But, my father-in-law cooks all kinds of stuff on that smoker, and I'll be in the back. He doesn't even have to tell me. I can get up in the morning, go out on the back porch, and immediately know that he's smoking something because you can smell it 3-4 houses away even. I mean, I'm right behind, right next door, but it's amazing.
Talent.
Yeah.
It
is great food.
Talent.
I love eating food that someone smoked. I just don't know that I can get into smoking.
One of
food
my
myself.
favorite foods of all time, one of my favorite foods is a fried turkey.
Oh my God. Now, forget everything I said about not being a gourmet chef or whatever. I will fry a turkey that will make anybody in this chat section slap their own mother. I would fry a turkey every day if it was feasible to do it. There is nothing on earth like a fried turkey. It is unbelievable. So that's the one indulgence or whatever that I have when it comes to cooking. Like Thanksgiving or Christmas, anytime somebody says, we should fry a turkey, I got that. I got you. Say no more.
You got a rig for it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, those things are amazing.
I love fried turkey. There's something about frying a turkey just changes the flavor of a turkey into something that's, nth level above. And I love Thanksgiving turkey. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love a turkey on Thanksgiving, but and just frying a turkey is just something about that.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
And it works like God intended it to work.
Yeah. And I've been frying turkeys for 20 years. I mean, a long
Okay, so
time.
you got the
Yeah.
technique. Perfect.
And it's a lot easier now even than it used to be. The ones now, the turkey fryers you can buy now are self-regulating as far as the temperature goes. So you literally can set it and forget it. It used to be back in the day, you would have to constantly adjust the flame on your burner to keep that temperature, because that oil will catch fire
Yep.
if it's even 10 or 15 degrees hotter than it's supposed to be. It
I
is
had a-
dangerous to fry a turkey if you don't know what you're doing. You see these videos all the time of these idiots who try to do it on their porch or something, and they burn their house down.
I had a coworker got permission from our job to fry a turkey, and serve it up for lunch right near Thanksgiving, and he decided to do the turkey out in the parking lot. Well, the parking lot was asphalt, and he misjudged the weight of the turkey, and he popped the turkey, and he did it slowly, but he popped the turkey in, it overflowed the oil, caught fire, and it literally melted the rig into the asphalt. They'd pull it out with a pickup truck.
Yeah. Waikiki says, "How do you fry a turkey?" Waikiki, have you ever, what a low country boil is, or anything like that? It's a gas burner, and then a big pot you put on top of it.
Big pot.
Yeah.
Big. Big.
Here, let's see if I found a picture of one. Here you go.
One of those restaurant style big 50-gallon.
So this is a gas burner here, and then what you do is this little stand right here, you just cram this down the turkey's asshole.
Oh, there
and
you
so
go.
the turkey's plopped on here, and then you take this hook right here, and you hook it around the top, and you lower it slowly,
Very slowly.
or you will burn your house down. You lower it slowly into this pot here, but and you fry it about 3 minutes per pound. Is how long you cook it, 2.5 to 3 minutes per pound. So your average turkey, you're not really supposed to fry huge turkeys like the 15+ pound turkeys. Now I've seen people do it, but the bigger the turkey is, the harder it is to fry the right way, because to get the inside the way you want it, it almost ruins the outside because you have to cook it for so long. About a 12-pound turkey is perfect though.
Where do you
and it gets
set up your
gets crunchy and crispy, the skin just like a fried chicken. It's amazing. And the turkey is not dry. Like, I don't like baked turkey. It's just too dry. I eat it on Thanksgiving and Christmas because you're supposed to, but I don't like it. It's too dry.
See, the problem with turkey is it's compared to chicken or duck. Turkey is a lean bird, so it doesn't have a lot of fat on it, so it doesn't have a lot of ability to drag moisture down into the meat. That's why it dries out so fast.
And this right here, Waikiki, this is an injector. Some people inject their turkey, and there's all kinds of different things you can inject it with. Italian dressing, there's all kinds of stuff.
Where do you set your rig up?
Where?
Yeah.
In the driveway.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, in the driveway.
Your driveway is perfect because it's concrete.
Right, that's what you need really
you
to
can get
to
it
do
away
it.
from the house.
A big concrete area, or if you happen to have like a big gravel area, you don't want to do it anywhere close to your house. You don't want to do it on a deck. You don't want to do it in the grass.
Away from you.
Right. Yeah. But I rub my turkeys. I mean, I inject them. So I have done injections before. I like the rubs better. I'll make my own. Paula Deen has an amazing recipe for a turkey rub. I can't remember what all's in it, but it's only 5 or 6 things, and you just mix it all up in a bowl, a dry rub, and then you just pat the turkey down, cover the entire turkey with that rub. Fry it. It's unbelievable.
Now, one thing I tried, and it worked really well for me, was when I baked the turkey to keep it moist and get a little more flavor in it. Is I made one of those flavored butters.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it takes
Uh-huh.
and then got under the skin. I picked that up from Gordon Ramsay, believe it or not. And it got under the skin and just rubbed the bird between the meat and the skin. Just rubbed everything with the butter, and the butter just goes. It goes up to the skin. It goes down into the meat, and it just the flavor is great, but it kept the turkey really moist, and that was really good.
Yeah.
So compound butters under the skin on a turkey. If you can't fry them like I can't, there's actually something in my friggin' HOA guide about you can't. They literally put it in. You can't fry turkeys in your driveway
Yeah. Some of those
because
HOAs are
evidently somebody
ridiculous.
did that like 15 years ago and screwed up their house because they put the rig too close to the house, and they said, okay, we're adding a codicil to the HOA. You can't do turkey fryers in your driveway. It's like, oh man, I hate HOAs.
Yeah. We don't have one here, luckily. They can be a pain in the ass, though. But I'm going to have to wrap it up. I didn't realize it's almost 9:30, and I'm supposed to meet that guy at Lowe's between 9:30 and 10. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to have to wrap it up. But, Celine, appreciate you coming on today, especially with BVD being under the weather. You really
Hey, no
saved
problem.
the day. So we appreciate that.
I appreciate you having me, Lou. I always appreciate you having me. So have a good morning.
Yeah, and you have you do a live show every Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I do every Wednesday at noon. And I'm thinking of adding another one. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it, but there'll be one tomorrow at noon Eastern. So everybody stop on by. I'd love to have you. It's open forum. Whatever you want to talk about, I'll talk about. Just don't be a jackass.
Yeah. All right, so y'all check out Celine Driver. Subscribe to him if you're not. Try to show up for his live shows Wednesday at noon if you can. Appreciate you coming on, Celine. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
Hope so.
All right, have a good morning, buddy.
See ya.
All right, bud. Celine Driver stepping in today. Now, he was already scheduled to be on, but it worked out good with BVD being out today. So, shout out to Celine Driver for coming on. Appreciate all y'all tuning in this morning. Over 100 of you here pretty much the entire time today, so that's amazing. We rarely get over 100 for the morning show. The night show usually brings in the bigger numbers, but a lot of you tuning in this morning, so I appreciate y'all supporting the show and the channel. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already on your way out the door. Thank you to all of you who chose to support the show this morning through the Super Chat feature. Mike Williams, Rob W., Creeping Death, and Waikiki. And over on the PayPal page, we had Mike Reiser and SEC Dog. I really appreciate you guys choosing. There's literally a billion different ways you could choose to spend $1, and the fact that you would send one to me is unbelievable. So I really appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who watched this morning. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so no morning show tomorrow, but I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. for the call-in show. You don't want to miss it. We'll talk more about the SEC schedule. I'm sure we'll get a ton of phone calls about the SEC schedule tonight. So make sure you tune into that right here on LouTube at 10 p.m. That'll be tonight. And then again, Thursday night, 10 p.m. And hopefully, first couple of weeks of September, we can bring back those Saturday morning shows because that means we will have football to watch. I think the ACC is still scheduled to start September 12th. So hopefully everything goes according to plan, and we'll bring back the Saturday morning shows at 9 a.m. We can all watch College Game Day together and talk about the day's games. And probably going to add that night show on Saturdays, too, if we get a football season, like a wrap-up show around 10:30 or 11 every Saturday night. And I'll have another announcement to make soon about another weekly live show that I'll be doing. It's probably going to be, I already have a night show, already have a morning show. It's looking like this is going to be a lunchtime show, like a noon show. I'm excited about it. It's a little, it's different than either of the other two shows that I have going on, and gives me an opportunity to work with somebody that I haven't really worked with before. So I'm excited about that. I'll be announcing more about that in the next couple of weeks. We hope to get it up and running by the time the season starts. That's the plan. Sort of waiting on the studio right now before I don't want to start any type of new show until I'm completely moved in to the new space and have all that behind me. So that's the plans upcoming. And we'll see what happens with the season. I still have my fingers crossed. All right. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. See you tonight at 10 p.m. for the call-in show. Have a good morning.
Let me get all up in there good.
Must be some kind of way out of here. Sending jokers to the thief. 2 months confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessman. None of them alone alive. No word any of it's worth. No reason to get excited.
Oh, lady, how about you shut up? I'm doing YouTube, bitch.
Kindly spoke. There are many here who feel life is but a joke. But you and I have been through all that. Yes, we will. And this is not a fake. So let us not talk falsely now. The hour is getting late.
All right, thanks for tuning in this morning, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m.